Welcome to Lunar Lullabies, where history whispers you into a peaceful slumber. We embark on a journey into the shadowy world of piracy, a tale that spans thousands of years, from its ancient origins to its lasting legacy. This hour-long lecture will guide you through the rise of piracy, how ordinary people became pirates, their customs, daily food, and life at sea, as well as the relentless efforts to bring them to justice. All of this will be told in a slow, soothing rhythm, designed to help you drift off into a restful sleep. Imagine yourself sitting on a warm, sandy shore. Gentle waves lap at the beach, their soft rhythm blending with the distant creak of an old wooden ship swaying at anchor. A light sea breeze brushes your face, carrying the salty scent of the ocean. These sounds will accompany us throughout this story, as we sail through centuries, from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean. Close your eyes, feel your body relax, and let your breath slow as you settle in. We'll begin with the origins of piracy, in a time when the sea became a stage for the first adventurers and outlaws. Let your mind release the day's worries, your thoughts becoming as light as clouds over the ocean. Listen gently, comfortably, and let's set sail on this journey to sleep. Chapter 1: The Origins of Piracy. Let us travel back in time, to around 1400 years before the Common Era, to the Mediterranean region, where the sea was both a highway for trade and a battleground for early conflicts. Here, amidst azure waves and rocky shores, where sunlight dances on the water, the first pirates emerged. They weren't the swashbucklers we imagine from films, no black flags or parrots on their shoulders. The sea became their home, its waves their protector. Economic factors were key, as empires weakened, trade faltered, and unemployment soared. People turned to a life where they could earn a living, even at the cost of their lives. Imagine a stormy night, lightning tearing the sky, as a small ship hides in a cove, waiting for its chance. These early pirates laid the foundation for what would later be known as the Golden Age of piracy. Their raids were chaotic, but over time, they began forming codes we'll explore later. Picture a calm morning, the sun rising over the horizon, as the sea whispers its ancient secrets. These waves carry us forward, to how people chose the path of piracy, defying the world on land. Let yourself relax, feel the warmth of the sand beneath you, and we'll continue our journey, listening as the sea soothes your thoughts. Chapter 2: How People Became Pirates. Now let's explore how ordinary people, born on land or sea, chose the path of piracy, a life filled with danger but also a freedom rare on shore. This journey was complex, shaped by the societies of the time. Many pirates came from sailors who lost their jobs, soldiers discharged after wars, or peasants fleeing famine and taxes. In the 17th century, during the Anglo-Dutch Wars, thousands of sailors found themselves without work as fleets disbanded. For them, piracy wasn't just a job, it was survival in a harsh world. Imagine an empty port, people standing on the docks, gazing at the sea, the wind carrying the scent of salt and despair. Others joined willingly, lured by promises of wealth, gold from sunken galleons or treasures from distant islands. In the Caribbean in the 18th century, young men escaped the grueling labor of colonial plantations, seeing piracy as a chance for a better life. Freedom drew them, no kings, no taxes, no rigid laws of the land. Picture a young man leaving a farm to join a crew, his eyes sparkling with hope as he first spots a ship on the horizon. Not all chose this path freely. Many were forced into piracy as captives. Imagine a battle, a ship under attack, sails torn, the crew captured, and a captain with a black beard offering them a choice: join or die. Often, this was the only way to survive. Captives who agreed took part in rituals, swearing an oath of loyalty to the crew, sometimes with a cup of rum in hand, symbolizing brotherhood. The black flag with a skull and crossbones became their emblem, while tattoos or earrings marked their allegiance to this perilous world. These rituals bound them, creating a community where every voice mattered. Unlike the rigid hierarchies of armies, some pirates were born at sea. Children raised on merchant ships saw life as a constant struggle against waves and storms. They learned to mend sails and heard tales of treasure from a young age. As they grew, these youths often rebelled against land laws, joining crews that promised freedom. Picture a young boy on deck, listening to old sailors sing of distant islands, his heart dreaming of adventure. This wasn't just about choice, it was about survival. Pirates built communities where democracy ruled the deck. Every sailor could vote on the captain or the division of spoils. Imagine a quiet evening, the crew gathered around a fire on the shore, dividing gold as waves softly lap at the sand, creating a melody of peace. This freedom came at a cost, constant danger, but for many, it was worth it. Let this moment's calm wash over you as we continue our journey. Chapter 3, Pirate Customs. Let's now dive into the unique world of pirate customs, which shaped their lives at sea, a culture not just of plunder, but of rules, traditions, and a fierce spirit of freedom. Pirate life might seem chaotic, but it had a structure that set them apart from other sailors and soldiers of their time. One of the most fascinating aspects was their democracy. Unlike naval fleets, where the captain held absolute power, pirates voted for their leaders. Imagine a ship's deck under a starry sky, sailors stand in a circle, their faces lit by the flickering glow of a lantern, their voices blending with the sound of waves as they choose a captain or decide where to sail next. This process wasn't just practical, it symbolized their longing for equality, a rare thing in the societies of the 17th and 18th centuries. These customs were codified in strict yet fair rules, written on parchment and kept on the ship like a sacred document. For example, in the code of the famous pirate Bartholomew Roberts, it was stated that no one could quarrel or drink excessively while on duty, or they'd face a fine or even expulsion from the crew. The division of spoils was also regulated, the captain received double the share of a regular sailor, but the rest was split equally among all members. Picture the crew after a successful raid, sitting on a beach, spreading out gold coins and fabrics, each person taking their share under the watchful eye of the quartermaster. This law of fairness was their pride, standing out amidst the chaos of sea battles. Symbolism played a huge role in their identity. The black flag with a skull and crossbones, known as the Jolly Roger, became not just a threat to merchant ships but a badge of their allegiance. Each crew added personal touches, crosses, hourglasses, or blood drops, to strike fear into their enemies. Tattoos on arms, necks, or chests told stories of their journeys, an anchor marked years at sea, a serpent signified a defeated foe. Earrings in their ears honored storm-survived or fallen comrades. Legends about pirates like Blackbeard or Calico Jack were passed down through generations, adding a mystical aura to their names. Pirates also had rituals. After a successful plunder, they'd hold feasts on islands, singing songs of the sea and freedom. Imagine a bonfire crackling on a beach, the scent of rum in the air, as sailors with a guitar chant about distant horizons. These customs fostered a sense of community, where everyone mattered, and there was no place for aristocrats or kings. Picture a quiet evening, the wind rustling through the sails, as the splash of waves brings peace. These traditions helped them survive in a brutal world, and we can feel their calm, imagining ourselves among this brotherhood. Chapter 4, Pirate Food and Life at Sea. Let's take a closer look at the daily life of pirates, their food and routines, which reflected the harshness of their existence on the open water. Food on a ship was simple but often scarce, as vessels couldn't carry much fresh produce. The mainstay of their diet was dried fish, salted and tough, able to last for months but losing its flavor within a week. They paired it with bread that spoiled quickly, turning hard as stone and growing mold in the damp conditions. Rum was their drink of choice, strong and cheap, helping them forget the cold, hunger, and pain. Fresh foods like oranges or meat were a rarity, and pirates dreamed of them, plundering merchant ships or stopping at islands to replenish. Imagine the smell of salted fish wafting from the hold, mingled with the pop of a cork as a rum bottle is opened. Life on board was even more challenging. They slept in hammocks strung between wooden beams, with barely enough space to turn over. These hammocks swayed with every wave, and the damp seeped through the wood, making the sleeping quarters cold and uncomfortable. Water was their most precious resource. Stored in barrels, it quickly turned green with algae, becoming undrinkable. Pirates had to find springs on islands, digging wells or collecting rainwater. The filthy conditions fueled epidemics, but they adapted, using rum as a disinfectant for wounds or even to clean their teeth. Imagine a calm evening, the ship anchored in a bay, as the gentle splash of waves soothes the crew after a long day. This was their world, where every day was a struggle but also a chance to feel freedom. Let this moment's warmth envelop you, feeling the salt breeze, as we continue our journey. Chapter 5, Pirate Adventures and Legends. Now let's turn to pirate adventures, which became the legends that still captivate us today. Their lives were filled with peril but also heroic moments that turned them into myths. One of the most infamous figures was Blackbeard, whose real name was Edward Teach. In the early 18th century, he terrorized the Caribbean, his beard braided with lit fuses that smoked during battle, creating a terrifying image. We paused amid pirate adventures, tales that turned these sea rogues into legends that still spark our imagination. Let's continue this journey, picturing ourselves on the deck of an old ship, sails fluttering in the wind, as the sea whispers its secrets. We left off with Blackbeard, a name synonymous with terror. In the early 18th century, his braided beard, adorned with lit fuses, smoked during battle, creating a fearsome spectacle. His flagship, the Queen Anne's Revenge, was a swift predator, and his crew trembled as much as his foes. Yet Blackbeard had a code. Stories tell of him sparing captives who swore not to return to the Navy, offering them a new beginning. Imagine his silhouette on deck, lightning splits the sky, his laughter echoing over the waves, mingling with the storm's roar. Another legend was Henry Morgan, a scourge of Spanish colonies in the late 17th century. His most famous raid targeted Panama in 1671, where his crew plundered vast riches, gold, silver, and jewels meant for Spain. Morgan was a master strategist, outwitting Spanish defenses with clever tactics, and his name became a beacon of boldness. He later earned a royal pardon and became governor of Jamaica, but his early exploits inspired countless others. Picture his ship gliding along a tropical coast, palm trees swaying in the breeze, as hidden treasure awaits in a cove, shimmering under the Caribbean sun. Pirate adventures often revolved around treasure hunts. Tales of buried gold on Caribbean islands or in sunken galleons fueled dreams of wealth. Charles Vane, active in the early 18th century, hid his loot on deserted islands, leaving maps that treasure hunters later sought. Imagine a sunken ship on the ocean floor, its holds gleam with gold, fish darting through broken masts, a silent underwater realm of mystery. These stories passed from sailor to sailor, growing with each retelling, embedding themselves in maritime lore. Yet these adventures weren't just about plunder. For many, piracy was an escape from the harsh laws of land, a quest for freedom unavailable in ports or cities. They battled storms, fended off naval attacks, and sought refuge on islands to rest. Tales of their defiance, like the defense of Nassau in 1718, where pirates repelled an English assault, became mythic. Picture a night on an island, a bonfire blazes, the crew sings of the sea, and stars above paint a tranquil scene. These adventures came at a cost, constant danger and loss. But they also forged a brotherhood that held them together. Imagine the splash of waves blending with the distant cry of gulls, a rhythm that soothes the soul. These legends transport us to a world where the sea was home, and freedom was the greatest treasure. Let this rhythm of waves calm you as we move to the efforts to stop these pirates, when their actions became a threat. Chapter 6, The Fight Against Piracy, Beginnings. We now reach a turning point, where piracy became a serious threat to trade, prompting governments to take action. In the 16th century, as trade between Europe and the Americas flourished, pirates began targeting merchant ships carrying gold, silver, and spices. This forced nations like England and Spain to respond. Queen Elizabeth I, in the 1570s, authorized private captains, known as privateers, to hunt pirates and protect her vessels. Imagine a fleet sailing through fog, cannons primed, as captains scanned the horizon for their quarry. These early efforts were challenging. Pirates hid in coves and on islands, knowing the sea better than any navy. In the Mediterranean, Barbary pirates from North Africa used swift galleys to evade pursuit. They attacked Spanish ships, taking goods and captives to sell in markets. Spain sent fleets in retaliation, but the pirates often outran them, vanishing into a maze of islands. Picture a chase. Large Spanish galleons pursue a small pirate boat, but it slips into the mist, leaving only the sound of oars. Punishments were severe. In Europe, captured pirates were hanged in public squares to deter others. In London, in the 17th century, executions took place on the Thames, bodies left on gibbets as a warning to sailors. Yet these measures didn't always work. Pirates persisted, as the sea offered them freedom. Imagine a harbor at dusk, ships rock at anchor, and in the distance, the creak of a pirate boat's oars echoes as it escapes pursuit. This struggle was just the beginning. Governments realized they needed stronger fleets and better organization to curb piracy. Picture a calm horizon after a battle, the sea quiet again, as ships return to port. This era set the stage for larger campaigns, which we'll explore next. Let the sound of waves soothe you as we continue our journey. Chapter 7, The Fight Against Piracy, The Golden Age. We've reached the height of the fight against piracy, the 18th century, during the Golden Age of piracy, spanning from the 1690s to the 1730s. The Caribbean became a hotbed of pirate activity, and European governments, especially England, resolved to end it. A key figure was Woodes Rogers, an English governor sent to Nassau in 1718 to dismantle the pirate haven. Nassau, in the Bahamas, was a true pirate capital, where hundreds of crews hid, traded stolen goods, and feasted. Rogers arrived with a fleet, offering amnesty to those who surrendered. Many, like Charles Vane, refused, but others, like Benjamin Hornigold, accepted and even began hunting their former comrades. Imagine Nassau's port, ships flying white flags of surrender, while Rogers' cannons remained silent. This was part of a broader effort. The English Navy increased patrols in the Caribbean, setting up checkpoints on trade routes. They hunted notorious pirates like Edward Lowe, known for his cruelty. Lowe captured ships and tortured crews, but in 1724, he was caught and executed. Such operations demanded immense resources, dozens of ships, hundreds of soldiers, and years of pursuit. Picture a sea battle, cannons roar, smoke fills the air, as a pirate ship tries to flee, but the navy closes in. Despite successes, there were setbacks. Pirates like Stede Bonnet used their ship's speed to escape. Bonnet, dubbed the gentleman pirate, was an aristocrat who left his family for adventure, but his career ended with execution in 1718. These campaigns gradually reduced pirate influence, though not entirely. Imagine the silence after a storm. The sea calms, ships return to port, leaving only the echo of battle. This fight was a turning point, and we'll soon learn how it concluded. Chapter 8, The Decline of Piracy and Its Legacy. We're nearing the end of our voyage, and it's time to explore the decline of piracy, an era when their power began to wane under the pressure of stronger navies and new laws. The 18th century marked a turning point, as the golden age of piracy, stretching from the 1690s to the 1730s, gradually faded. Several factors contributed to this shift. First, European nations like England and Spain bolstered their naval forces. Fleets became faster and better armed, with cannons capable of striking from afar and ships built to withstand storms. The decline was also tied to changes in trade. By the 19th century, steamships replaced sailing vessels, and pirates couldn't compete with their speed. Trading companies, like the East India Company, hired guard ships, making raids less profitable. This heritage influences us today. Maritime law, developed to combat pirates, shaped international agreements. Pirates left their mark on music, literature, and language. Words like mutiny or booty trace back to their world. Imagine a peaceful sea at twilight, where the echo of their songs merges with the waves, crafting a melody of calm. This legacy lives within us, and we can feel it, picturing ourselves on a shore where the sea whispers its ancient secrets. Let this rhythm lull you as we conclude our journey. Conclusion. We've reached the end of our long and captivating voyage through the history of piracy, from its origins in the Mediterranean to its decline in the 19th century, from the first raiders to the legacy that endures in our culture. We've sailed through centuries, listening to the waves, imagining the creak of ships, and feeling the salty breeze on our faces. This lecture has taken you through how people became pirates, their customs, daily life, food, and the fierce battles fought to stop them. Each wave brought a new chapter, and each silence allowed a moment of peace. Now picture yourself on a warm, sandy shore. The sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to Lunar Lullabies and tap the bell icon to receive notifications for more lectures and tales to drift away with. May your sleep be peaceful and your dreams sweet. I wish you a restful night at 2:16 a.m. Eastern European Summer Time on Monday, May 19, 2025, with the sea's gentle sound as your companion. Good night.